Hello, welcome to the Bradley J. Show. Western medicine has its place, but there's also a place for alternative medical providers. I know because hypnosis cured me of smoking, just like in one session, and I don't think I would have been cured by it unless I had been hypnotized, and I'm eternally thankful for that. So I know there's a use for alternative healers. The challenge is finding a good one. Have you ever tried to find one? You go online, all you see is a name. You don't know if the person's a hack or the best. You see a photo, still don't know. That's not a help. You even see the place's website. It might be a fancy website, but you don't know. Lots of half-baked places have great websites. Well, this whole thing is a problem. How do you know if the healer you are getting in touch with is a good one? How do you know the healer you found online is a good one? Well, meet Marisa Finelli. She's got the answer, I guess. She may have the solution. So, Marisa, thank you for being with us, and tell us about your thing, your plan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So, I am the owner of Healing Point Therapeutics in Marlborough, Mass. I'm an acupuncturist and a hypnotherapist. And I also recently launched a website called Find Your Healers, findyourhealers.com. And this has been a process that's been taking place over the last 8 years. It all began about 8 years ago. I started to experience some paranormal activity, oddly enough, in my actual office space. And back then, this was not my world. I was very like science-based. I wasn't into all this stuff. But as the issues started to escalate, things were moving around in my office. I was seeing things. I started to feel like I was literally losing my mind. And it sent me on this search to find someone who could actually help me clear this out of my life, out of my space. And so now that I look back, I consider it a blessing because it really was the initiator of this whole journey for me of trying out all these different healing modalities to see who could get rid of this issue I was having. And I did eventually I found someone to get rid of this issue. But along the way, I was seeing dozens and dozens of all types of healers, psychics, mediums, and having really good experiences with some of them and not so great experiences with others. And it just brought me to this realization as a business owner, because, I've run a business for 14 years. I know that you have to make yourself visible, right? When you own a business so people can find you. But in the spiritual realm, it's a lot more difficult. You are kind of going by a friend of a friend told me there's this woman who can help you. And so I ended up turning this into a whole community, basically building this community of spiritual healers, holistic healers, and vetting them out, having experiences with them. And, the ones that I didn't have a great experience with, I just kind of moved on. I didn't say anything about it. But the ones that did an amazing job, I started really talking them up. And this led me to the culmination of this, was the website, the findyourhealers.com website, where all of the healers and the readers, psychics, mediums are all thoroughly vetted. And it
Okay,
really is like nothing else out
so
there.
that's where you find healers that are good because you have checked them out. You have sort of secret shoppers that go and get treated by them at least 3 times, I guess,
Hmm?
and report back whether or not they were good, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. They go through a process, a thorough interview process, background check, all of that. And then they end up getting vetted by 3 just normal people who are not in this world, who grade them basically to decide whether they are of high enough quality to be on the website.
So
And yeah,
so they know that so they're not secret shoppers
they're not
because
secret shoppers. They do
they
know that
know
they're
that they
vetted.
are working with you.
Mhm.
I see.
Yes.
So tell me about what's included in the interview with these people.
So, the first piece is really, I'm trying to really legitimize this type of medicine and bring it to a new standard. So, looking at references, going through the background check, having people post videos of, what brought them to their business. When they get through that part, it's just like a regular job interview, basically. Then the next thing is they're connected with 3 different people who sit in on a session with them and experience a psychic reading or a healing. And they are gauged on how professional are they, how accurate are they. Did the person feel comfortable with them? Did the person tell them, oh, you're going to die next week? Believe it or not, there's a lot of really horrible readers out there that are really messing with people's minds. And so we are trying to kind of move past that and truly up level.
I'm a little bit confused because initially I thought this was a place where you found hypnotists and acupuncturists, etc., to help you with anxiety or to quit smoking, etc., with things that affect, things of that nature, rather than things like readings. That seems to be a different thing. If it's not, explain why it's not.
Well, it's all part and parcel of the website. So we have acupuncturists, we have hypnotherapists.
Even though that's on the website, how are those related? They don't seem related to me.
So it all falls under the realm of holistic healing. They all fall under the realm of healers, really.
Okay. So you, when, let's say you saw paranormal stuff going on in the office, you needed healing from that?
Well, I needed someone to come in to clear it out. So, I had healers coming to clear the energy of the space, to clear my own energy, to come in and do different types of protocols to get that energy moved out of my space.
Excellent. Okay. So these are good. This is good knowledge. The people on the website are vetted, and they're vetted through an extensive interview, yes. And B, people go and get treated by them, but they know that the people they're treating are coming from you, so they're on their best behavior, I guess.
If you're a psychic and you're giving a reading and it's not good, it doesn't matter. If you're proficient at what you do, then it's just like anything else. If you're going through an interview process, then you are going to be able to prove yourself, right?
Right. And, since they know that they're being vetted, they're certainly not going to mail it in, whereas with a regular patient, they might just mail it in. Like, part of being good is trying hard, and we know that they're going to try hard because they know that you're like the restaurant critic who's coming to see them. Okay. And who do you use to vet the people?
I have just a group of very unbiased people that are not in this world, that are not psychics, aren't mediums, that have had some experiences with the holistic wellness community. But what I don't want are people that get readings all the time. So they're just kind of your average person. Mm-hmm. And those are that we've got about 45 vetters right now. Are they volunteers? They are.
And what do they get out of it? Satisfaction of helping people? They get
the satisfaction of helping someone build their business.
They get a free reading.
They get readings. They get healings.
Okay. And when you say healings, can you explain what you mean?
Well, there are a lot of healers out there that are able to do healings via Zoom. And I don't know if you've ever done this before, but you can actually feel a lot of the sensations of what is going on. It sounds very out there. And believe me, years ago, I would have been like, this is nuts. How do you get a healing over Zoom? But over and over, I've seen people getting amazing results from these healings because it's all energy, right? And energy doesn't hold time or space. So you can treat energy in all different types of ways and not be in the room with somebody.
Okay. Is there a guarantee for patients that use the website, like money back or half money back or anything like that?
No, because, just like anything, if you went to a Western doctor and they diagnosed you and gave you medicine, they could be an amazing doctor, but you might not resonate with that person.
Okay.
So not really a way to, guarantee.
Okay. Now you mentioned, by the way, where are you located?
I'm in Marlborough, Mass.
And the business, not the website, is Healing Point, called Healing Point, right?
Yes, Healing Point Therapeutics.
Okay, Healing Point Therapeutics, and you're in Marlborough. So if anybody lives out in the Marlborough way, So you see people in person, and you also do online healing, right?
I do virtual hypnosis sessions as well.
And you say, and it could be true, that online sessions are 100% as effective as in person.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, with hypnosis, it doesn't matter if the person's in front of me on my table, if they're as long all they really need to do they need to be in a background where they're able to relax, where they're not being distracted. That's the
Right.
key. But yeah,
So, do they lay on a couch? What do they do?
it depends on the person. They either lay on their couch or in their bed. I actually did these bedtime hypnosis sessions. I started them a few years ago, and sometimes I get 60 people on a Zoom, and they go to bed with me at 10 o'clock at night, and we do a whole hypnosis session with all of them in bed.
Okay, so if you do it in bed, you're not looking at anything, right? So you don't have to see you. You're just listening to you. Is that it? They listen
That
on
is
their.
correct. Yeah.
And so, how much different would it be if you simply made a tape and sold it to them? Could you
I
do
mean,
that?
I do create tapes, and I do sell tapes as well. But I think there's something also to, again, there's an energetic aspect to it.
Right.
So people kind of feed into that collective energy of everyone, having the same goals and being in this very, very ethereal space together.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
So,
powerful.
so it's about energy.
It's a combination. I mean, hypnosis itself is not technically energy healing. It's going to work whether you believe in this stuff or not. It is a way to access the subconscious mind, but I do believe that there is an energetic component. There's an energetic component to all healing, really.
And I always thought that the energy kind of happened in person, but you're saying that's not necessary.
Nope, not at all.
Okay. What kind of healers do you include? Because there's a wide range. Can you tell me all of them?
Oh, I mean, there are a lot, but as I said, acupuncturists, hypnotherapists, psychics, mediums, numerologists, people who do the Enneagram, people who do past life regressions.
Okay. So can we run through those? You said hypnosis. I get that. What was the second one?
Numerology.
Yeah. This is for me and everyone, I guess, like me, who's like, how does numerology fit in to any sort of healing? I'm sure
Numerology.
it does. I'm not aware of how. I would never have guessed.
I mean, there are actual, they're called cures that are created through different numbers that can actually kind of create changes in your environment and your health. I am not a numerologist, I will say, but I've had
Okay.
some amazing numerology readings, and yeah.
So how does that go? How does it help you? They look at you and they say, all right, your numbers are 7, 2, and 83. I have no idea. How does it work?
It's all based on the math of your birth date, your birth time, and so they have these specific. Again, I don't know much about it because I don't do it, but they have these specific formulas that they use to break it down to certain numbers that are like power numbers in your life that you can integrate to create changes.
Is it related to astrology? Because that uses birthday and numbers and angles and stuff.
There are similarities, but it is not.
Okay. So this is numerology. What was next? And this is good because people might not have thought of these as alternatives to help them. So numerology, what else?
Past life regression.
Past life regression.
Mhm.
How does that help? Like, who would be helped by that?
A lot of people who have very specific and odd phobias where they just don't know why they've all of a sudden developed this immense fear and they can't leave their house and there's no reason why. And they have these strange triggers that don't seem related at all to anything that's gone on in their current life, but it's literally just keeping them frozen.
So this is not stuff that happened to their ancestors. This is stuff that happened to them in a past life.
Correct.
Assuming that it's, do they have to believe in past lives to make it work?
That's a good question because a lot of these therapies, they will work whether you believe in them or not. Acupuncture is one of them. But there are certain types of, if somebody is really not open at all to the idea of past life regression, they are not going to be able to really open to seeing and hearing what they need to see and hear during the session.
I see. So
But
some
I'd say they
things,
do need to, yeah,
some
believe in
things
it.
work whether you believe or not, and some need you to believe.
Yes.
Okay. Numerology and past life regression. What's next?
Oh God, we have so many. I think I said Enneagram. Enneagram, again, this is not something I practice, so I'm not so familiar, but it's a way of kind of looking at different personality types and how you function in this world. So you are able to kind of optimize the way that you work, the way you are in relationships. Human design is another one like that, where it teaches you about the best way to express yourself so that you are fully in your power, so that you know how to be the most successful in your work environment, in your home environment. Human design is definitely one of the more powerful ones that I've seen lately. It's become more popular lately.
Human design,
Yeah.
which is what you I don't understand human design. Is that your personality type?
A human design is again, it's like there are these 5 or 6 different
Well,
types of ways that your energy works,
I
but
see.
it breaks it down to very specific ways that each energy in your body works. And
All
it's,
right. What's
yeah,
next? This is very interesting. What else? I did not know about these things. What else?
I know there's a lot. You should come to the website. Um, so there is,
Oh yeah, well, let's give out the website again. What is the website?
it's findyourhealers.com.
Findyourhealers.com.
Mhm.
Okay.
Um,
And you yourself have a business which is Healing Point in Marlborough.
that is correct.
Okay. Moving on. Go ahead. What else is on the site?
We have Akashic Records, which is basically being able to read into the records that we created before we were put on earth, so that, it's like we kind of created a path for ourselves to live out while we were here. And these records are a way of tapping into to really summarize it, what's your soul's purpose.
Oh, having a purpose is knowing your purpose would be great.
Mhm.
So, what's
Yeah.
that called? Mapping?
That one is called Akashic Records.
Wow. All right. This is so interesting. What's next?
I have a number of animal communicators on the group that can communicate with your pets and let you know if the pets are suffering, if they've got some health issues, what messages they want to bring through. That's always an interesting one. I have tarot. I'm sure you've heard of tarot before,
Yeah.
reading into the cards. Mediumship is connecting, obviously, with the dead, the deceased. There are people that do things called soul retrievals, where they believe that if we have some sort of severe trauma in our life, a piece of our soul leaves and we are kind of lost without it. And so we struggle and we have all of these challenges in our life that come from that, and they can help you to get that piece back. There's a
Okay.
lot.
So I just typed this out and put it up. Check and make sure it's right. Findyourhealers.com.
That is correct. Yes.
That's a cool URL. Was it hard to find a cool URL?
Oh my God. Yes. I struggled so hard, but you know what? This one, I'm amazed that it was even available.
I know.
It's meant to be.
Give me a couple more.
All right, let me think. Who else is on the site right now? Feng
What about
Shui.
what about just readers? Like just tell you. I don't think we mentioned that yet. Like not
Yeah.
palm readers, but people give you readings. I never understood the purpose of that. What is the purpose of that? To learn the future, or I mean, I don't see the value in having somebody tell you stuff, and you go, "That's right," because you already knew that. So, is it to know the future?
Well, in my humble opinion, I believe that the best readers are really about us giving us the power and tools to create change in our lives, and not just telling us, you know what, in 5 years, you're going to fall in love, you're going to get married. The readers that I work with are very much about, again, the tools, the empowerment. So sometimes we need someone with that outside vantage point. And I actually describe this as Waze, the app to help you drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Waze and you know where you're going, and you have this application that tells you, okay, you can take a left and you're going to get stuck in traffic. Or if you go this way, you might be able to steer around it. So a good psychic reading to me is the equivalent of Waze for
Okay.
our soul. We can tell people what's coming
right.
up so that they can be prepared.
So they kind of give advice and say, well, you're going to have a choice coming up, and if you do this, this might probably going to happen. If you do that, that's probably going to happen. That kind of thing.
In a very oversimplified way, but
Yeah.
yes, that's the basics. Yeah.
Okay. One more.
Mhm. Oh, all right. What have I not covered yet? Oh, I have. This is a good one. People who clear homes and people. So basically, exorcists, but they can clear the energy out of homes, or they can clear demonic entities that attach to people.
All right. Now, how do these people get this power? Can anybody learn to do that, or are they somehow somehow born with it, or did they develop it? They decided, I want to learn to do that and study it. How does that work?
A lot of people are born into these gifts. One of the healers I work with the most, who does tons of clearings and tons of exorcisms and things like that. It was passed down. It was a gift that was passed down from generation to generation.
Wow. All right. So there are more possessed people than I imagined, I guess. I didn't think there were.
You'd be
More than I would think, right? More than
you would think. I mean, they're not all. It's not like you walk down the street and you're just seeing demon possessed people everywhere, but it happens a lot more often than people think. It's yes.
Okay. Now, I wanted to say this to last. Can you get into some details about what happened to you and what was going on in your office? Is it that office right there that we see now?
No, I'm not in that office any longer. Okay, very, very long story short, I saw a schizophrenic client many years ago who had a schizophrenic episode and in the office, and there was something about him being there that triggered this. I don't know. Again, at that point, I had no idea about any of this stuff. My beds were going on and off by themselves. The lights were, and this was all after he left. And
what was going on and off?
The lights were going on and
Yeah.
off. My patients were actually saying, like, I saw it too. I would see these little shadow people running by, and I was like, I'm crazy. Like, I literally was like, I think I'm losing my mind. And my patients would say, did you see there's like a little shadow guy, like in the corner? This was happening so consistently. I was seeing people, like, I would come into my office, and I had my own office. Nobody else was there. All of the pillows would be on the floor from my couch. I saw people sitting on my couch that weren't actually there. They just faded away. It was really jarring and really terrifying because, again, I was in that space of like, I think I am having a nervous breakdown. Like, this must be what it's like.
So you weren't thinking in terms of paranormal. You didn't believe in it at that time.
No, I just thought I was having a mental breakdown.
Okay. And so you probably struggled for a while with what to do, and it probably took you a long time to come to the realization, oh my God, I'm desperate. I'm going to get a Ghostbuster in here.
Yeah. It was a while, and everyone felt it. It was really, like, interesting how even my most, the patients that I had that were not in this world at all, they would come in and they'd be like, something is wrong. Like, I don't know what is in this office, but people were afraid to be there. And so I finally, again, I started finding these people to help clear it out. And one I will never forget. I had this, one of those chimes on my door, and that chime would just ring by itself all the time. And I had no windows. It wasn't like there was no breeze. And one day I had a healer come in, and she cleared the space, and she was like, what you really need to realize is we can clear it, but your fear is bringing it back. Like, you are actively attracting it like a moth to a flame. So you have to get your power back and just basically tell this thing to F off and that, it's not welcome here. And I'm in charge. It's just like with people setting boundaries, being like, I'm not going to accept this. And so I did one night. I was in the office, and the bell started to ring by itself. It was like 10 o'clock at night. And I just looked at it, and I was like, basically F off. And the thing just stopped. And that was it. That was the last time it rang in that office.
Were you afraid?
I was absolutely freaking terrified.
So you pretended you weren't afraid, and that fooled it, right? That fooled it?
I pulled on. I mean, I was afraid all the time, but I just had this moment of like, oh, hell no, I'm done with this. Like, I'm done. And so that was my moment of just like, I'm terrified, but I'm also done. I'm not going to take this anymore.
So the thing couldn't really read your mind because you were afraid,
I was afraid.
But
But
you
again, I
yelling
was
at it
also
made
in
it.
my power.
You
So at that
yelled
point,
at it, and it fooled it into thinking you weren't afraid anymore.
it worked. I mean, it again, whatever energy I was putting out there it's made it stop.
And it worked.
It did.
And you thought, well, maybe that worked, and maybe it didn't. So you stayed in the office for a while, and it did work.
I
And
left.
it
I
never
mean,
came.
I was there for I lived out I wrote out the lease, but I did end up leaving only because I needed to expand as well. But I never felt
But there
I
was
really
always a
never
chance
felt
you'd come back. Always had
Mhm.
chance
Yeah.
in the back of your mind. How
Yeah.
much longer was the lease?
I think I had like another 4 or 5 months
I
after all
see.
of that.
So who's in that space now?
You know what? I left and I was curious about it. And I feel like that space stayed empty for a long time. And then I think somebody was in there very fast. Like they were in there and then they were gone. So at this point, I am not sure who's in the space, but right after I left, I know they had a really hard time getting people in there. And I'm not surprised.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. Really super interesting. Findyourhealers.com is the website where you can go to find healers that are vetted. It's not super random. They're checked out in an interview with somebody serious. That's Marisa. And also, they've given treatments to people working for Marisa so they can just see if they're any, how their process is, are they professional, etc. And it's a big help because I am trying to find a hypnotist because I really like hypnosis and it's super effective for me. And I go online. I have no idea. Talk to somebody. You can't get any idea. And it's a bummer. And you just have to, without this website, you got to pay the money and take a chance. And I don't want to take a chance. Not only you're out the money, but then you lose faith in the healing method. So this is really a great thing. Findyourhealers.com. Why don't you write this website, get it in your phone, because you never know when you're going to need it. Also, there's Marisa's business. And what do you do in your business, Healing Point in Marlborough? You do hypnosis and acupuncture, correct?
I do. And I do a lot of combo sessions. I call it hypnoacupuncture, where I put needles in the patient and then I hypnotize them with the needles in.
I think that's cool. Do you have any idea? I'm guessing it works better. Do you have any idea why the combo works better?
I feel like the needles just naturally regulate your nervous system very quickly. And when you are bringing someone into hypnosis, you are also shifting them into an altered state. So it's kind of like the needles are helping to get to that state more quickly and more deeply. But also I treat primarily, the majority of my practice is anxiety, depression, and insomnia. And those are all things that respond incredibly well to both modalities. So when you're hitting it with the hypnoacupuncture, you're kind of hitting it on every single level. So yeah, I get really good results.
Does acupuncture take care of specific anxieties about specific things, or only just make you a more relaxed person? If somebody has an unreasonable fear of a particular thing, does acupuncture, can it focus on that particular thing, and how?
No, so when people are when they have generalized anxiety, I recommend acupuncture. When they have a specific fear or phobia, I recommend the hypnosis, because that hones in on actually getting to the core of, okay, you have this fear and we're going to work on your subconscious mind to relieve that. The acupuncture it just takes your anxiety down for any type of anxiety, but it's not specific to, like, I'm afraid of dogs, I'm afraid of spiders. You know what I mean? It will just relax you. It'll definitely make you feel better, but to work on specific fears, I always recommend the hypnosis.
The hypno beat.
Yeah.
That's an actual song. All right. Findyourhealers.com. Thank you very much, Marisa Finelli. This has been fantastic. And folks, everybody knows somebody who can use this information. Share it so they have this available as well. And if it's true, and I believe you, that it also works online, that means anywhere around the world can take advantage of alternative healing provided by the providers on findyourhealers.com. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate your time too. Thanks.
Okay, we'll stop being live in a moment, but don't go away because I just want to say bye. Bye, everybody. Share this.